Hey you guys, it's me Laura. I'm a homeschooling mom of 3 kids, ages 3, 8, and 11, and this year we have been incorporating unit studies into our family. The unit study that we're currently working through is Song for a Whale by Lynn Kelly. And I'm doing a little bit of a different format this time around. Instead of giving all of the information in one long video, I'm giving it to you piece by piece. And at the end, I will put all of this together in one playlist. And I'll also have a blog post with downloads and everything that you need if you want to incorporate any of this into your own homeschool. Today, I am going to be jumping in and showing you what we are doing for language arts. This is a literature-based unit study. That means that a lot of our language arts is coming directly from this. We're going to be doing some copy work as well as some poetry work because poetry is a big part of this story. So let's jump over to the desk and I'll show you a little bit more about what we're doing for language arts in this unit study. So today I am going to show you this part of our planning sheet, and this is how we incorporate language arts with our unit study. With Song for a Whale, the first thing that I do when I read it is I look for really great copywork passages. Now, these passages are going to be different for different families. We use shorter passages on purpose. You can definitely add more to them and make them longer. I mostly do copywork with my oldest. My middle is working on his copywork and all of his stuff through his separate language arts program. And of course, my little one is too little to be worrying about this right now. But for my oldest, I will pull stuff straight from this book. And as I pull copywork passages, I try to have one for each week, and I will write the passage here at the bottom of the week that we are working on. And then we do a process called intentional copywork. And I am going to, this is something that I'm actually taking a class in from Rooted in Language, learning how to use this better to utilize things that my son needs to learn and how to challenge him to grow. And you guys, since I have started doing this intentional copywork, not just regular copywork, this is very intentional and focused copywork, it has made a huge difference with my son. We've already seen a huge difference. So I'm excited to continue that with this unit study. So we have a 4-day plan where the first day we'll look at meaning within the passage. The second day we do phonics, spelling, and word study. The third day we work on grammar, punctuation, and handwriting. And then the last day we do copywork and editing. So on the first day, we have this picture here. We'll read through the copywork passage together. So this says, until last summer, I thought the only thing I had in common with that whale on the beach was a name. That is the first sentence in the book. And we're going to talk about an opening hook. We're going to talk together. He's going to draw a picture of what comes to his mind when we read this passage. And we're going to talk about what did hook him, what didn't hook him, and just really discuss and explore opening hooks in this page. The next day, we're focusing on phonics, spelling, and word study. And this is where my plans are especially important. So I've gone through ahead of time, and any words that are in this passage that are not spelled just completely 100% phonetically, any that need rules or any special things to know how to spell, I have broken them down here in my lesson plans, and this will be available to you at the end of the unit study. I'll make sure that you have all of this available to download if you would like. So what I've done is I've taken this, and so for example, the word summer. Why are there 2 M's in summer? You double the M to protect the short vowel in summer, because the first part of the vowel is summer. And so if it was just SU, if it was summer, it would be actually sumer. The U would say its name because it's an open consonant. So anyway, I've just gone through and I've broken down all of those spelling words. So as we are going through here, we will go through those together. Not every single one, probably, but we'll pull out what we really recognize. And here, I'm going to have him highlight 2 words that double the M, and we're going to definitely talk about that rule, make sure he remembers it, make sure if he hasn't learned it yet that we learn it, and we'll go over that together. I'm also going to have him here underline vowel chunks. So anytime you have 2 vowels together that make one sound, like here in beach, he's going to underline that, and we're going to discuss that. For this particular passage, I'm also going to have him circle any silent E words, and we're going to talk about why the E is there and why there's a silent E in that word. And then we'll look over any other tricky things, any other things that he thinks are hard. We're going to make sure to mark it all up and talk about it and spend time discussing it. For the next day, we are going to talk about grammar. And a lot of times I'll pull what grammar we're using out of our grammar curriculum. I'll pull it from other things Rooted in Language has a program called Grammar Bugs, and I really want to learn how to use those, but I have to pace myself. I can only learn so much at one time and implement so much at one time. But I would love to use Grammar Bugs with these, but for right now, we're just going to focus on highlighting the punctuation and the capitals. We always do that, and we always talk about them. And we're going to discuss an opening clause here and look at the difference between dependent clauses and independent clauses and talk about that, because we have this "until last summer" is an opening clause. So we'll discuss that a little bit and talk about the grammar in this passage. The last day is for him. We will cut this out and put it in his notebook or use it in whatever format he wants, and he is simply going to do copy work with this passage. If you do a 5th day of homeschool, you can then add dictation on. We're not doing that at this point in our homeschool. We do dictation with our spelling program, which he uses all about spelling. But for right now, we are going to finish out the week with copying this in the best handwriting, trying to get all of the correct grammar, punctuation, spelling, and everything. And that is how we do copy work in our homeschool. And it will just keep going through this cycle. I have various passages picked from the book, and each one we focus on a little bit differently. Now, if you're familiar with Brave Writer, you could certainly use a Brave Writer arrow or dart or whatever level you're on for this, and they have a lot of this stuff available there as well. So that is what we do for the copy work. The next section that we're going to look at is grammar and writing. And normally for this, we just use whatever is coming up in Grammar Galaxy, and then we apply that to whatever we're learning. However, in this case, this book talks a whole lot about poetry. It's got poetry throughout it. Poetry is a big part of the story. So I wanted to focus on poetry in this unit. So our first thing that we're going to do is actually from Grammar Galaxy that we're doing. They have a chapter on shape poems. So we are jumping ahead. We're going to listen to that story, and we're going to do these shape poem activities, and that's just going to be what we do for the first week because it goes so perfectly with what we're already learning. Then I got this download on Teachers Pay Teachers. Again, I will link this below. I don't remember how much this cost. I really don't. But this is a really important part of our unit study. I have to admit, I am not someone who loves poetry. I love songs, and I love poetry and music, but I am not someone who gets a kick out of just reading poetry. Like, that's just not me. I'm more practical. Just say it, say what you mean what you say. That's just the way my brain works. But I know that poetry is important, and my dad is a published poet, so it's kind of important that we learn about poetry a little bit more. So I found this download, which is really awesome. So I've decided to structure it so that we're going to be learning about one type of poetry per week, and these downloads have made it especially fun. So for day 1, we will be introduced to the type of poem. So in this case, it's a limerick, and we will read some fun limericks and have fun and just learn about that style of poetry. On the next day, this download includes a planning page, and it's different for each type of poem, which is really awesome, and it makes it super, super easy for the kids to plan out their own poetry. So they've got topics that they brainstorm here, the last word in each line. Here's 3 words that rhyme, here's 2 words that rhyme. So it's giving some option, and it gives them a place to kind of play with their limerick, play with their poetry while they write it. So the next day we are going to do that planning. And then on the 3rd day, they're going to write their final limerick. I have them each drawing a picture with theirs. She has so many templates. You can do it with pictures, without pictures. There's different designs and patterns, but I'm going to have them each draw a picture for theirs. And then on the last day of each week, because we do a 4-day week, we're going to do poetry tea time, and the kids are going to read their poems out loud to each other, and we'll read some other poetry as well. My dad said that he's going to try to write one of each type of poem for us to read as well, and we might call and include him on Zoom. But we're also going to include in that poetry tea time one of the recipes from the book, because there's various food in here, both when they're on a cruise ship, and there's a special meal that they have before they leave for their trip. So each poetry tea time, we're going to include a piece of food from the book, and we're going to share our poems that we have been working on. So I'm really excited about that. Another aspect to our language arts is our word of the week. So I've gone ahead and I've picked out words. Most of these come from Song for a Whale, but a few of them come from our science textbooks. And I try to pick out words that are meaningful to the passage that we might come across again, or that understanding the word might make the story become more alive, things like that. And so I've picked out 5 words for each week. And the kids will come through on day one. They pick the word that they want to study. So sometimes the kids will pick the same word. Usually they pick a different word, which is excellent because that's more words that we can learn. And I'm hoping to get to the place where I feel comfortable picking a word myself and doing it with them, which would be so cool. I need to do that. I need to get better about doing stuff with my kids. But they will pick a word. They'll color it in, and then we'll talk about the spelling of the word. We'll talk about the base word. We'll talk about parts of the word. I plan to, again, take a class from Rooted in Language. This is actually one of the next ones I'm hoping to take about word study to help me learn how to help them break down the word and understand the word better. So once we've done all of that, then I pull out the book. And you can see here I have page numbers beside all of the words. So I pull out the book and we read the word in context and we try to guess, what does this word mean? What could the word mean? So they'll guess. And then we pull out a dictionary and look it up and we find the correct definition based on the context in the book. And they will write the definition of the word here. So that's what we do on the first day. And then on the second day, we'll come in and write the word again. And based on, again, the definition in the book, they will figure out the part of speech that the word is. And we'll talk about that, how it's that part of speech and how it's used that way in the sentence. And then we will fill out this right here, which is word forms. So not every word has multiple word forms, but if you're talking about a noun, you're going to have plural and singular. If you're talking about a verb, you're going to have past, present, future, like all these different, he will jump, he did jump, he jumped, he's jumping, you know, all those different things. So we will put all of those down here. Sometimes we'll look these up in a dictionary to help with them or see what tools that we need to help us figure that out, but we will put that there. Then the next day, we will come back in and do synonyms and antonyms. Sometimes the kids will come up with some of these on their own, but we always make sure to try to look them up. There's only been one word, I think, that we've ever had that we couldn't find any synonyms or antonyms for. It was just that word, and that was the way that it was. But for the most part, we try to come up with that. And then on the last day, got these out of order, we will again write the word one more time and they will draw the word. So they're either going to draw something that shows what the word is or draw a scene that uses the word in it, and they'll have a sentence that goes with it. So the sentence is either going to describe what's happening in their picture. So maybe if you have the word, let's see, antique. So it could be, the antique watch was worth a lot of money. So that could be the sentence. And then they could draw an antique worth a lot of money, or they can just draw a picture that helps them understand what the word means more and have a sentence that's not connected to the picture. Just whatever works for their brain. They draw a picture of the word and they write a sentence. Usually my kids choose to write the sentence first and then draw a picture. That's totally fine, whatever works. But that is what we do for Word of the Week, and that's how we will incorporate it into our read aloud. That is pretty much it for our language arts portion of our Song for a Whale unit study. Of course, we're doing our read aloud, which is a big part of language arts, and we have our book basket. Our book basket is a basket of all sorts of books on any topics related to what we're going to be doing for the unit study. We try and sit down and read through some of those together every day, and I do try and include some that my kids can read on their own as well, some chapter books, picture books, all sorts of stuff, as a way that they can explore and learn and engage with the topic a little bit more. So that will certainly be part of the language arts aspect as well. But that's pretty much how we're going to wrap it up, and I am excited. I think this is going to be a fun unit. I'm really actually excited about the poetry, even though I'm not a huge fan of it. I think it is going to be, this is going to be a great way to introduce it, a great avenue to do poetry through. So I'm very excited about that. If you want to see what else we're doing for this unit study, I still plan to share with you about our math, our preschool, our book basket, as well as a wrap-up of how all of this came together and how it actually worked in practice for our unit study. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss those videos. And if you missed the previous videos about how I planned for this unit study, as well as our nonfiction spines and our morning basket, projects, activities, and extras, be sure to check those out. And at the end of this series, I will be linking a blog post that has all of the downloads, the links. You can get a free copy of my lesson plans and everything from the website, so be sure to check that out. And if you have any questions at all, please be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I hope that you have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye.